Okay, so good evening and welcome to Sit Chat, a weekly event on various topics that we discuss, chat event. So before we continue, let me share my screen and then give you a brief about what Sit Chat is, and then we can continue with our discussion. See, sometime back, I became a volunteer in SIT, the startup initiative, startup ignition team, an initiative started by Manoj Kabre. And in this initiative, the idea was basically to see in what way we can help the startup community. And as one of the topics, I volunteered to host Sit Chat, a weekly chat every day, every Thursday at 8:30. This is a Zoom meeting ID. Anybody wants to join later may please use this link. And the idea is to talk about various topics which are relevant to the startup. In doing so, also try to get visibility for the person who is presenting so that his goals and aspirations are met using the SIT community. And at the same time, make sure that SIT becomes more known in the society for people to come on board and be volunteers for helping the startup community. Definitely, we have people who are experts in our SIT chat, but still, I would recommend that you please consult your trusted professionals before implementing or taking the advice from SIT community, SIT chat forward and implementing for your benefit. With that, let me talk about today's topic, which is something interesting. I came to know of this when I spoke to Shishir Mandya, who is part of the SIT community. He lives in Mumbai. He said that, look, instead of me, the best guy would be to talk about this topic would be our Raghu, who is my partner and who runs the business in runs the factory in Bangalore. And he introduced me to Raghu, and then Raghu is the one who will be our main speaker today. He runs a company for manufacturing uh, spice powders, spices. You know, it's something nothing so great, right? It is very simple to make spices, but there is something very unique in what he does. So let's start understanding what this uniqueness is, and added to this, he is also somebody who has worked in the corporate world and then chose to manufacture spice powders in the food chain. So I don't want to really break the suspense. So let's hear directly from Raghu as to what this the secret of spice powders with full flavor is. So over to you, Raghu. And before that, let me introduce myself very briefly. My name is Dinakar. I am a mentor and a consultant coach for companies to improve their performance. I've been doing this for the last 10 odd years. And earlier to this, I was working in Bosch, doing various roles in India, Germany, and Brazil. Over to you, Raghu, and look forward to an outstanding discussion. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Okay, thanks, Dinesh. My name is Raghu. Just a small brief introduction. I worked in the corporate field for about 18 years before changing over to food industry. I ran a couple of restaurants in the past, and through restaurant is the entry for me into the food industry. And right now I run a startup called Just Have Spoon. We are situated in Pina, and we are a kind of a D2C brand for rest of the world other than Bangalore. And within Bangalore, yes, we are catering to some of the supermarkets and other stuff. Whatever with the limited reach, what we have, whatever we can reach, we are attending to that. And I tried to share my screen here. For some reason, I'm not able to share the screen. So I have emailed my presentation. If Dinesh, can you open that presentation? I can. That will be a great help.
Dinakar, are you able to show his presentation? You can keep speaking, Raghu. Dinakar might be in some technical because he's not
We lost.
responding.
No.
What is the problem, Sagar?
He has sent you an email. Is it possible for you to share, because he's not able to share the presentation?
Oh, okay. You can just yeah, it's opening. Just a minute. There's something wrong. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, now it got open. I don't know what the problem was. Maybe the file size or the...
तड़का लगाओ दिनकर जी तड़का लगाओ स्वाद आएगा just joking light away
just half spoon is enough for
वही लगाने के लिए गया हो तड़का लगाने के लिए गया हो
yes, there it is.
just on a lighter way, no? Don't take it seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, you tell me when to change. I will change the slide, Raghu.
Yeah, sure. If you can put it on a presentation mode, it will.
Yeah. 1 second, just 1 second.
Good evening, Manish. Good evening, Vinayak. Ajit ji, namaste. Samad ji, namaste. Dr. Samad, namaste. Milind ji, namaste.
Yeah,
Good
there you go.
evening.
Namaste to you all.
Everybody is able to see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to just talk about our journey and how we ended up with a product which is now labeled as just half spoon. Second slide, please. Yeah. So India accounts for about 30% of the global spice trading market as of now. And once upon a time, we were the leading suppliers of the spices before other parts of the Southeast Asia came up, and then also South America started producing spices. Nowadays, spices business is spread across the world, but India has a unique, this one is about 75 out of 109 varieties of spices listed by ISO is only grown in India. Okay, and although chili not a native crop for us, we are the pioneers in growing chili these days. We have overtaken South America. Domestic market is estimated to be at around 1 billion. And you may ask me a question, export market is higher than the domestic market. And there is a reason for that. And I will explain that in the next slide. Next slide. Okay, for any business to happen, there has to be a demand and then there has to be a supply. So increased urbanization, India is now becoming an industrialized nation, okay, into a developed nation. We are leapfrogging into that direction thanks to Make in India and other programs. So this is increasing the projects like smart city and other stuff where people are traditionally living in a agrarian society, moving towards the cities now. And this needs whatever the innovation in terms of the cooking, and also demand for various flavors what people used to have. If somebody has moved from say Delhi to Bangalore, he would express, he would try to find chole bhature or chole bhature masala in Bangalore. So this is the kind of demand what is created in the cities. And pretty much market like Bangalore is cosmopolitan. So you find every other kind of masalas are required here. And then in the supply, the thing is India is blessed with a tropical weather. So we are able to take 1 or 2 crops or sometimes 3 crops in a year. And availability of spices locally is also have improved. These days, government is helping with cold storage facilities at the places where some of the things are grown. Something like if you take an example like Gujarat, Munja, you have cold storage facilities to keep cumin. At the same time, Badgi in Karnataka, they have a cold storage facility for keeping chili. And then again, improved agricultural techniques also has increased the yield. So the availability of the spices right around the year has increased. So earlier we had to wait until only the season time, and rest of the seasons the spices may not be available. But now that has improved. Next slide, please. So here, one of the problems what we face is you decide to buy what you want as a consumer, but a shopkeeper or a retailer decides what he wants to sell you. What does it mean? In the sense, there is a unwritten rule, okay, about the pricing, and whenever a new entrant comes into the market, he is forced to abide by the rules which is already set in the game. Because of this, there is an inconsistent quality. Any spice which is more expensive for the that season, and you happen to do the production at that time, generally companies tend to avoid that. And then faulty manufacturing, I would not say faulty, it's old generation of manufacturing techniques what is used, or the processing techniques generates a lot of heat, and this actually evaporates the volatile oils in the spices, which causes change of taste. Some of the color, the spices have off color, especially things like chili. Varied granule size, so people have to do a sieving to get the regular size. If you want me to sum it up, it is a high volume and low quality mindset what is there in the manufacturing side, and use of substandard inputs. So there is, if you try to buy any kind of spice, usually 3 to 4 different qualities of spices are available. So for example, if you take example of say cumin, or best example is dhania or coriander. So a broken coriander is also sold, which may or may not have much of oil content left in that, but that is also sold, and that is used by many of the companies which are doing the processing and turning into a powder or extracting oils from that. And how it affected us, or how it affected me in particular, is as a restaurateur, we are always chasing a white horse called taste. So everybody is behind the taste. If any restaurateur who can offer good taste, the business is usually good. Okay, and as the word of mouth and the effort in the marketing reaches this stage, you tend to have a good business. So what are all the things that affects the taste? One is the recipe, whatever we use. So the recipe, whenever you don't have a standardization, there is a change, there is a possibility of change. In Indian cooking mindset, cook's mindset is do everything on their own, and they don't want to share the recipes. So any good cook wouldn't want to share the recipe. So what I did in my restaurant at the time was to automate the cooking. So if I'm taking an example of preparing sambar, so we decided on the recipe previous day. Whatever that goes into the sambar, everything was put in a container that goes into a combi oven, and we started cooking that, thereby eliminating human induced variations in the food. But still we were getting a kind of change in the food taste, and my customers were coming back to me and telling me, hey, that day it was good, today it's not that so good. Or some people were very modest and say, Raghu, this can be better, but it's not bad, but it can be better. So this got us into a kind of investigative mode, and the discovery, whatever the picture you're seeing is the discovery what we did. Okay, this is a cross section of a clove. So everybody is seeing clove, right? So whatever you see is a structure which holds oil inside that. So you can see those glands there are what is called stack. This holds volatile oil, and the glands on the top holds the oleoresin. Okay, without these two, the volatile oil and the oleoresin, whatever you get, the powder is nothing different than the wood powder or the sawdust. So the oil, whatever the money you pay for buying some spice, is the money what you are paying to get certain amount of volatile oil and certain amount of oleoresin. Oleoresin is responsible for taste of the food, and volatile oil is responsible for the aroma. And again, 50% of the content in the oleoresin is also volatile compound, which is very much sensitive to the heat. What is happening today when you go and buy a commercially produced spice powder? It is ground at the room temperature, external temperature, and internal temperature in the mill can be anywhere between 50 to 100 degrees. And these volatile oils, you can check the what you call evaporation temperature, anywhere starts between 45 to 60 degrees. So you're essentially, if you're not preserving these etheric oils in the spices, you're just paying the money for the wood powder. That's what is happening in India today. As a restaurateur, I faced the problem of inconsistent quality, and a discovery what was made was, if we are freezing these spices, you can use even the freezer at your home, freeze the spice, and then do a grinding. You will get a better taste and better aroma. Okay, so for us, basic this one was garam masala. Garam masala is a common spice blend used in making any of the curries, which we North Indian curries, and even South Indian palau and other stuff, we use garam masala. And this is the one thing what we were behind. We started making our own garam masala. We achieved consistency, but it was not any taste, wasn't nothing better than what was available. Second thing what we did was we accidentally froze it for a reason, with one of the weekends where we couldn't do our masala grinding. So we put everything, all the roasted spices in a plastic polythene bag, and then kept it inside a ice cream freezer. Why we kept it in an ice cream freezer is, in a restaurant kitchen, there may be at least 20 to 25 people who are working, and if something is left unattended, unsecured, we may not be able to find it again. So that since a kilo of garam masala costs nearly 45 rupees per 100 grams, we had kept somewhere around 7 to 8 kgs of raw material ready. We didn't want to lose that, and we kept in ice cream freezer because that freezer had the lock and the key. We kept it there, and the next day we came, and before we could go, and our idea was to go and roast it again and then do the grinding, but one of our employee took the key from us, and he went ahead and grinded the whole garam masala. And this was our eureka moment. He came running to us saying that, sir, it was typically, he told me in Hindi, sir, kuch bhi bacha nahi hai, sab clean hai. What he meant is, inside the milling chamber, nothing was stuck. So earlier, if we were grinding something like cumin, half of the oil what is inside the cumin is stuck inside the milling machine, and only part of it would come out as a powder. So the main problem is the oil, because oil doesn't oil becomes sticky, and then it also goes through the heat. Excuse me. because of the exothermic reaction or the heat generated, oil also changes its property. Even if you collect that oil, the whole of oil, what is there in a mixer or any kind of a device you use for doing grinding, that has already changed its chemical properties. So what happened with us was there was nothing stuck and it was as good as new. That means unused condition. So we were surprised, and then we did the same experiment with cumin. Cumin is the hardest spice to grind. Okay, let me tell you, if you want to test any kind of a milling machine, how efficient it is, how good it is, you just try grinding cumin in it. If it can grind successfully at the given flow output rate, whatever kgs per hour, then that machine is worth buying. Okay, so cumin also we had a very good success rate. No, whatever the oil inside, that was nothing was stuck in the milling chamber, and we discovered something new. But how it affected the taste, we were not knowing that yet. But only thing what we were happy was we can keep doing grinding without bothering about jamming or any kind of residue left in the milling. Okay, so we were happy about it. But that day we got good feedback from our customer. So one of the customer came up to us and said, it has been at least 25-30 years that I have eaten something of this good taste. And we were surprised, and we continued our effort in making everything, whatever we make, to go through a freezing cycle. But only drawback is just to get 1 kg of powder, we have to wait for 7-8 hours before we could take it out and do the grinding. So we wanted to fasten this process, quicken this process. So we went in the route of getting liquid carbon dioxide. So with liquid carbon dioxide, we can do an instant freezing. So liquid carbon dioxide goes up to minus 60-65 degrees. So whatever is in the spices, the oil, that turns into a crystal, and when you powder it, it gets powdered like a crystal. Whether you use a mixer grinder or whether you use a pulverizer, the effect is same. Advantage with this is you tend to save the oils which we meant to consume, not waste in the process of size reduction, that is the powdering. We also found, okay, using liquid carbon dioxide, the process is faster, but again, carbon dioxide is not recommended by FSSAI for doing any kind of food processing, but it was an experimental stage. So we again went and searched for a liquid nitrogen vendor, and we got about 2 kgs of liquid nitrogen. We mixed the product with the nitrogen spices, and then we also started pouring nitrogen into the milling chamber. And something happened to our milling machine or the pulverizer. Everything got tripped, and some fumes started coming from the machine, and we were heartbroken. Okay, we thought we discovered something, but our machine stopped working. And it was half an hour. I was very hungry. Then I went and had my food. And I was telling my wife, something happened to the machine. Machine is off now. We need to get it repaired. And one of our employees said, "Sir, आप machine अभी use कर सकते हो." I said, "How?" I just tried running it. It's running. Then I realized the cold temperature, what is exhibited by what is induced due to liquid nitrogen, had frozen the oil inside the bearing. So the bearing became, the oil became crystal, and the bearing got jammed. And because bearing got jammed, this one power got tripped. Okay. So extreme temperatures, what liquid nitrogen can drive this one to is not direct. It should not be directly fed to the milling. Should be pre-mixed and then just fed to the milling. So these are the learnings what we had. And when we started building our own machinery and other stuff, we followed this. So we started doing the mixing at the feeding stage, and then getting the milling done. without the liquid nitrogen. We would only pass the liquid nitrogen to contain the milling temperature, but not mix the liquid nitrogen directly. Advantage with this is you get almost 99 to 100% of the etheric oils, that is oleoresin and the volatile oil, and the taste what you get is minimum 50 to 75% better than what you get in the commercial blended masalas or even the lone masalas. This is a disruptive technology, and it has already gained its foothold in the Western market, West as well as even a country like Pakistan has a company which makes cryogenic masalas and they're supplying to the worldwide market. The company name is Shan, and I don't have any shame in saying that we were inspired by Shan when we started Just Half Spoon. The name Just Half Spoon is since we are having 50% better oil content inside the spices is retained, so you only need to use half the quantity. And not only that, it is just whatever I explained is just one part of our this one. So the recipes what we are using is tested and tried and tested for 8 years in the restaurants we own. We also use aluminum packaging, proper aluminum metal packaging, what you see for baby foods in the spice powder packaging. And another thing is we buy top quality spices which are unbroken, spices which you get to see with graded spices and clean spices, so that whatever process we are following is worth doing on the spices. If we are following the mindset of general industry, that is broken and fatki kind of a thing is used in the making powders, we may not get much of an oil, and we're spending money on the liquid nitrogen and the process is going to be a waste. With all that, our achievement is we are able to match the prices or even be able to sell at a lower price than the commercially available masalas. It is available in our D2C site also. If people are interested, they can buy. We are a small startup. Yes, we are in. We work on the funding and other stuff. We are in a Series A round where we have done the product realization, market acceptance is done, and we are looking for funding to build the brand and marketing and expansion of the manufacturing.
Very inspiring, Raghu. Something fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, I only have one small comment before any question. See, your basic process description is something which is critical, right? Only your discovery. You know that how to use liquid nitrogen, where and where not to use liquid nitrogen. I'm not sure whether it is going to be useful for you to share so much detail, or is it required for people to believe that it is possible, you know?
See, whenever we talk about cryogenic grinding, cryogenic liquid or nitrogen is used to compress liquid hydrogen when we are launching rockets to the space. Same technology is used here. We are using to retain the oil here, not to contain the hydrogen. We are trying to do that. So it is also termed as cryogenic grinding. And of course, yes, again, many companies in India have tried this in the past, and technology and other stuff what they were using was from the West or from the China, where they couldn't contain the cost. So what we did is in our setup, we built the machines ourselves. We got the mill, we got the conveyors, we got those hoppers, we got all the machineries, and then we spent our time, about 7 to 8 months of time, in perfecting the machinery. So it's an indigenous thing where we saved at least 3 to 4 crores if we had got by not going for the commercially available turnkey system. And also we got the understanding of how to control the cost, how much is exactly needed. Something like if we are grinding chili, we need about half a liter of chili per kilo of half a liter of liquid nitrogen per kilo of chili. And if we are doing cumin, we need about 2 liters of liquid nitrogen for 1 kg of cumin.
I think
At the
these things,
same
I
time,
think you see, one is your discovery is damn good, but in my understanding as a IP from the IP protection part of it, in my opinion, you should not speak about that publicly. Whatever you're explaining to us now, you should
these are
possibly
all in
refrain a
public
little,
domains.
because these secrets are your secrets, right? What you have discovered. Moment to tell this, somebody will also be able to benchmark and use that. That
Dinakar,
is
it is all over the
my
all over the
comment.
net. It is
It,
all over
it
the
is
net.
it is available in the public
Level,
domain.
okay. So then it is
Dr.
okay. Then it is fine.
Yeah, Dr. C.T. Murthy
Yeah.
of CFTRI did this and got it patented in year 2000. Okay, when it comes to the IP part of it, what speed our motors run, what speed our rotors run, what is the depth, length and the pitch of the pins, what we use, what is the nitrogen, flow control. These are the things which I wouldn't share because it's a proprietary thing.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so
Understood.
the cost control happens. How do you effectively utilize liquid nitrogen, which
Understood.
is not given nobody gives that details. We
Understood.
use the PLC based what do you call
Controls. Closed
valves,
loop control.
control valves
It's
to
SCADA. Yeah.
yeah,
Correct.
control valves,
See,
and there is a whole amount of software work that is put behind. We have invested in, so the software does the controlling based on the what.
very good. Very good. See, I had a question. See, I remember sometime back Sanjeev Kapoor, that guy who keeps coming on TV, the Master Chef or whatever. He doing an ad for some brand. I'm not sure which brand it was, where he speaks about the oils being the core of any spice, and the spice will be good only if the oils are not evaporated. And therefore,
Tata
he was
Sampann.
telling that this particular brand does not allow the oil to evaporate. Therefore, it was a good brand. Do you remember that ad?
Yes, it is for Tata Sampann.
Tata Sampann. Okay.
Yeah. So,
They also have the same process, is it?
yeah. So it is not a cryogenic grinding. So nowhere they mention it as a cryogenic grinding. What is happening in the industry today is there are companies like Synthite, Simega, Canchor, where they supply these oleoresins and essential oils. So whatever you have lost, you can add it at the time of blending again and to get something back. So many companies do this, and they're using inferior quality of inputs, which has already lost the etheric oils inside that. Only way is after powdering, you just add oil and blend it. So these are all the practices that goes on in the industry, which I've seen it from my own eyes in several reputed companies, which I can't name them here.
Okay,
But this is prevailing practice.
Understood.
And if you have access to the YouTube, I have one video on how we do this, which showcases.
You can just share the link. We'll put it in the group. People who want to see, they can see that. See, I have got
Okay.
one more question.
Yes.
See, before we get Sagar to ask or comment whatever he wanted to, see, if you look at the olden days, okay, the way the masalas used to be done was at home, and we didn't have any mixie or anything like that. You would normally use a stone to grind it on stone. And there the amount of heat generation may not have been as intense as in the case of a mixie. Okay. Now, that possibly was the reason why the olden cooking may have been more tastier. I don't know. Okay. The second thing is, when we go to any festival, any cooking, that means, let us say if there is a marriage or something like that, normally especially more than the marriage, the death ceremonies. During the death ceremonies, you are not supposed to use anything which is already prepared. So they normally get the chilies and cumin and jeera, everything fresh, and then they grind it fresh. And there again, most of the cooks still use the grinding stone, they grind it on the stone, or maybe pound it on the grinding on that kind of rubgundu anta heltaralla kannadadalli. I don't know what you say, something like that. So So my question is, do you think the technology is the one which deteriorated the quality of spices, or has it to do with evolution? Because earlier maybe it would have been tastier.
Excellent question, Mr. Dinakar. This is definitely that's the case. Okay, so if we are using any stone grinding or the mortar and pestle, what was used in the past, we cannot get the quantity. Okay, so in the industrial scale, if we start using that kind of a thing, we cannot produce 1 ton per hour or 10 ton per day or whatever, this kind of thing. So for the convenience of scale, people went for the Western methods of grinding, that is using some kind of motor, rotor, hammer, whatever was available. So there are at least 27 different types of mills available today. So whatever people are comfortable with, the people started using it. The advantage with stone grinding is you tend to have all the oils retained, the etheric oils retained, the oleoresin and the volatile oil, because there is not much of heat that is generated. And then usually that is mixed with the water. And once you take out the water, all these oils will be floating on top of the water, and then you use it in your cooking. You tend to get at least 90%, 80 to 90% of the spice oils retained in that matter in this process. Whereas when it comes to industrial scale, or even the mixer at home, the mixer grinder, I would call it as a mixer and grinder because it does both the function. These things tend to heat up. But today the quality is not, the people are not really looking at the taste. Quality means is the granule size. Finer the granule size, the people think that it is a fine quality. But the more you reduce the granule size, more fine the powder, it's also its ability to retain the etheric oil in it also reduces. So there are a couple of things that is affecting. One is the granule size. To achieve that finer granule size, what people do, they do multiple stages of grinding.
So again,
So
it
one time
evaporates.
one time they do grinding, they reduce it to say 500 micron. Then again they do grinding, they reduce it to 250. Then they do it, then they come to 100 micron. And people think that okay, 100 micron is the good thing, but what happens is what is left there is nothing but just the wood powder. So when you take out the oil, when you take out the reduce this one, it is more closer to the wood powder rather than the spice powder.
Okay. So one more question before I hand it over to Sagar. See, you spoke about funding, Raghu. Have you done some kind of a ROI analysis or some kind of a cash benefit analysis to really find out how would the returns be for an investor if somebody wants to invest?
Sir, we started sometime in late part of 2022, and then we spent quite some time in building the machinery. And in 2023 March, we started our marketing. First product was out in the month of March. And as a startup, yes, we work with the limitations, whatever we have with the funding and other stuff, and we didn't have the skill of doing sales. So we realized it as months progressed, and we hired few people and they couldn't do a good job. So we suffered a bit at the time. It was a burn phase. And post December last year, December and January, we did well. We are doing something like close to 50 lakhs a month business, and with that with just one person as a marketing. And then we also got help from a couple of people in the industry who were curious to know what we are doing. And then one of the ex-general manager of the Eastern Spices, she's working as an advisor. And through her contacts, we built a lot of business. And right now, yes, we are doing well. We have passed that burning phase. And now we need funding to expand further, leapfrog.
Yeah, absolutely. absolutely right. No, my question was, see, any investor coming into a startup business, there are two types of things. One is yours is an innovative area. Like definitely, you may not be the first in the market, but definitely it's a new thing in the market. Cryogenic grinding. So there, the general expectation of an investor would be 10x return in 3 years. That means if I give you 1 crore this year, you should be able to convince me that I'm going to get back 10 crores in the next 3 years. And that is the expectation. I'm not just trying to say that whether it happens or not. Okay, that is the expectation. So my only request, not a question to you, is possibly think in that direction as to what options could be there for an investor to get back 10x. 10x could be multiple things. One is you give back in terms of profits, which in which case it will be a debt equity, other debt funding. Otherwise, you can say that, look, I'm going to give you equity, and 10 years from now, your company valuation increases 10 times to what it is now. So his 1 crore also became 10 crores. Then he can sell his equity and take an exit, So those areas, I think you may have to look into it, is what my recommendation is. I'm not asking a question. So now over to Sagar, please go on.
Thank
And
you.
later,
Thank
if
you.
anybody wants to comment on this investment part of it, please be free to add your comments. Yeah, Sagar, please go on.
Hi, thank you, Dinakar. Raghu, it was fascinating for me to hear your story. Now, what actually fascinated me before I go on with my question is not related to your technology, not related to your food. When I went through your profile on LinkedIn shared by Dinakar, you are from University of Life. Okay, philosophically, what is that made you actually write that you are from University of Life? That's my first question. The next one is, Raghu, you are a technologist working with Texas National Instrument. I mean, basically, I suppose it's telecom technology is what I presume. And from there, you were with restaurant. Now, what was that business crave, or what was that problem that you are trying to solve, or what was the vision that brought you to make spices? That's my second question. Third one is, you are in a market which is both organized and unorganized. Okay, both have got equal share. Now, Maya's, MTR, MDH, all these fellows, Eastern being the biggest fellows over there, versus all the unorganized, where even my house, the Halli Mane fellows, all those are also into a similar one. Okay, now where do you place yourself when you started? What was your vision? Where you wanted to place yourself, and where are you now? Now, in your presentation, you showed there is a percentage of business, or there is there's a number. How do you project that now coming to the investment part? Now, when in case I would want to invest in your business, okay. Now, good that Dinakar raised 10x, but Dinakar, I don't know whether 10x is still a valid number. However, what is your commitment that if an investor, now you're in a Series A, now when you want to come to Series B, what is that you are promising to an investor? These are the ones.
Okay, so let me answer starting from your first question. And if I forget anything, please correct me. So yeah, learning doesn't stop the moment you step out of the college. I'm an engineer by academic, and I completed it in year 1997, and I've been working since 98. Okay, I took about a year to decide which direction I want to go, and it was a Y2K era, and everybody were going towards IT, and then I also joined that bandwagon. And then later I spent about 16 years in just two companies. One was Lucent Technologies, and another one was Texas Instruments.
Yes.
And Texas Instruments was a semiconductor, not telecom. So
Okay.
we were dealing with everything. And one thing is, being a tech ladder person in Texas Instruments, learning is something that is emphasized, that is given weightage. And learning is something that I keep doing every day. So I have not met a person who says, okay, I learned everything in this world and I know everything. So every day there is a learning, every day there is something to update, and something to unlearn also. That is very important. So whatever we have learned in the past, and that situation has changed, technology has changed, new invention has come, and new theories have been proposed. So the unlearning is also important. So that's why I put it as University of Life. And I believe it will continue until our last breath, something or other thing. Okay, coming to this one, the reason I changed my path. into food industry is one of the things is I don't know, many of you might be coming from an IT background, and if you see an IT environment, it is mostly it is in an AC environment where people sit in a AC room and work for 10 to 12 hours a day minimum, and then okay, work from home culture has come recently. Before this, we were in office most of the time. Main problem with this is because you are sitting in a colder environment, you don't realize that you are getting dehydrated, and people are definitely constantly getting dehydrated. Those who are aware of this and drink water, they can survive this. Otherwise, people like me, we suffered. And again, lack of sunlight, we are away from the sunlight for most of the time, and that creates a vitamin D deficiency. All these things turns into arthritis kind of symptoms, and I suffered from rheumatoid arthritis, and people expected me. There is a very less awareness in the corporate world. What happens when an arthritis strikes somebody? So people expect 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months the time to recover and get back to the work. But arthritis takes time to recover. Sometimes people may not recover also. For me, it took almost 18 to 24 months to recover, and with lot of exposure to sunlight and food changes in the food and the drinking habits and being aware of your own body. So all these changes, and again, once I was ready to go back to work, the kind of work what I got was again the same thing, sitting in those AC offices, which I had done for about 18 years of my life. And I didn't want to go back to that. So I thought, okay, let me start my own business. That's how I entered into this, and I opened my first restaurant in 2016. Thereafter, I was continuously in the restaurant business until 2023 August. Of course, this Corona actually hurt restaurant industry very badly. Every time there was a lockdown, yes, it's a bleeding time for us. And again, every time when TV announces a new variant that is coming in, and there is a casualty rate that is increasing, then our business used to go southwards. So this is a constant cat and mouse game what we played for almost 2.5 years, and finally we said, okay, let's get out of this industry. And this whatever the Just Have Spoon, this was born in our restaurant. So we started making our own masalas, and we were selling our masalas also. So one of the at one point of time, surprisingly, we got an order from USA. Couple of people who had our food at our restaurant wanted our spice powders. We got a big order, and we took almost a month to complete that order. So that big the order was, and we didn't know how to do exports or anything. We just packed everything, kept it in a this one air cargo, and sent it to them. Okay, people were generous, and they absorbed all the cost of shipping and everything, and they were happy. And this started continuing. That's how I got into this business of spice powders. And again, in market, yes, as you said, there is a organized and unorganized. But if we go deeper, there are two segments in the market. One is a general trade, which is called GT, which what you see with the Kirana store, or even the supermarket, even a Royal Market kind of a supermarket is also considered to be a GT market. And another one is a modern trade, or MT. So that is Metro Cash and Carry, Reliance Smart Point, D-Marts of the world. So these are modern trades. Basically, these are the two segments in this one. And e-commerce, of course, that adds another dimension, which is also a modern trade. So in this segment, yes, we have nowadays multiple choices on how we have to go about. Yes, of course, we have some presence in the general trade, but most of the people and newer brands nowadays are coming in the modern trade and e-commerce, which is kind of opening up competition. Okay, the people are no longer directly going to the stores and buying it. Even if you are ordering on a Zepto or a Blinkit, it is a modern trade. So opportunities are more. So that's how we are getting into the market. Of course. I hope I answered your question. And then again on the investment part, yes, So we are offering kind of equity, debt equity, and this one investor. And there are projections given. See, we were struggling to make 1 to 2 lakhs business couple of months back. Today we are aiming how we can touch 1 crore a month. So the industry, once you understand where the demand is and what people want, and you start producing it and give it in the packaging what they want, packaging in the size, there is a market, and market demand is very high because this is a consumable product. This is not a durable product where people buy it and it stays for longer time. Any food product is a consumable, comes with an expiry date. So there is a constant demand once you are in the market. So brand building and brand positioning are the two activities where we are trying to focus on. Of course, we are positioned as a top quality brand. We are trying to stay away from these tags of niche and health and other stuff, because that confuses the people. Because when perception in the market is, if something is very healthy, it is not tasty, and something if you say very niche, it is very expensive. These are the two terms we have consciously we stayed away from that. We say top quality at an affordable price. So that's how we are in the market.
Good.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, Raghu.
Tasty and
Anybody else have a
healthy.
comment or question?
Tasty and
Please
healthy
go
is
on.
only Amma's food.
So would you target the hotels directly, 5-star, 4-star, 3 stars, showing them the cost effectiveness and the quality of the products?
Yes, sir. So about 25 to 30% of our sales happens to catering and hotels as of today. It includes big hotel chains also. Advantage with see why we have an advantage as well as a disadvantage. One is if you see a hotel industry, only thing that they can control is the food cost. So the rent or a salary or anything like electricity, all these things are pretty much constant month on month. If you see, it stays constant. Only thing that what they can control is the food cost, and people go to an extent of buying substandard thing to reduce the cost, because they at the end of the day, a person running the restaurant, operator himself, or bigger hotels, the manager who is tasked to show them the profitability, will go this route. And hotels, yes, we have heard, okay, they're saying that your product is expensive, and then but we gave them samples for free of cost to let them try it out and get the customer feedback. So there we after that, yes, close to 25 to 30% of the restaurants we approached, they started ordering with us. But it again, whoever has a quality mindset, they tend to come with us. People who are only conscious about the cost, they don't.
So would you approach groups like ISKCON, who provide food for lakhs of students every day, right? If it is cost effective for you, I mean, for them, would they not opt for it, and then you don't have to keep selling? It will be,
So,
you can just supply to them. That itself is a huge business for you. So did you try doing it? That's my question. ISKCON's one, Akshay Patra. I'm talking about Akshay Patra.
correct. Mr. Girish in Akshay Patra who handles this, and we have an audit in the month of March. So sometime there will be a surprise audit, and once we pass the audit, we will be supplying to his comments.
Okay.
Girish is the contact.
Very good, very good. Anybody else have any question, comment? Yeah, Ajit ji, you wanted to tell something. Please go on.
A wonderful talk, Raghu. I just wanted to know if velocity for profitability is killing the quality quantity, is it okay if we straight away take the oleoresins and the oil and bottle it in small bottles and one drop like essence, no? Can it be used? I'm just thinking wildly. Instead of, sending chilies and all, if the oil and the oleoresins can be extracted and put in a bottle. and you add one drop or half a drop instead of half a spoon. How does
It is already happening. It is
available.
in the ready to cook kind of food, RTC, we call it as RTC, ready to cook. Okay, that kind of thing. People add oleoresin and not volatile oil, because people don't care about aroma. Of course, end customer cares about aroma. The taste part, yes, oleoresins are added. But the flip side is these oleoresins are more expensive than grinding your spices using liquid nitrogen. So
Okay.
something like 1 kilo of oleoresin costs around anywhere between 700 rupees to 2,500 rupees, depending on the value, ICU value, whatever they provide. And again, some of them are synthetically manufactured. Simega is in forefront of that, which kind of results in undesired effects after eating such kind of food. So many times you may have a stomach upset or kind of a gastritis issue after eating in hotel. That's because of this food coloring, and then adding of the oleoresins post production. So concentration can be very less or way more than what is desired also. So those things tend to affect. And these days, most of the restaurants and the people, they are trying to reduce the cost by going for substandard food. And this is very much prevalent in Bangalore market, but thankfully other places like Gujarat and UP, there is a different trend there. People want to really go for quality. So our country is diverse, and people tastes and business is also diverse.
Yeah, Raghu, can you just share the link of your online shop so that whoever is interested can order and try out your spices?
Yes,
In the
yes,
chat
yes.
window, you can do that if you can. So that this is not only for us, but also for the members, whoever wants to watch the video at a later stage, can use that link and then order these spices to check them out. I remember getting tamarind from somewhere near Shirwal. There, Godrej have a kind of a farm which they use for doing research on spices and herbs which grow in Western Ghats and what can be used for medicine. And in that institute, they also grow turmeric. And they did some special grinding of turmeric. And I remember that entire thing was so strong. The moment you open the lid, you can smell the turmeric. It was, of course, packed in normal plastic cover. They also must have done cryogenic grinding. Yeah, you already sent it, Raghu?
Yes, 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 yes. I already sent it.
Where, in the WhatsApp group, or where have you sent it?
I am not aware of any WhatsApp group.
No,
I
where have
sent
you
it
shared it? This is the one, is it? Justoffspoot.com. That
Yes,
itself will
yes.
have the it also has the website there, or purchase options.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay, so I will share that. I will share that, and then
e-com
whoever is
site.
interested can please go there, refer it, and then buy it. Yeah, that's really good. So thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Raghu. Thank you so much. It was really very exciting, very wonderful. And before we end, as usual, Amarji, can you please give your comments? Thanks a lot for participating from your home this time. You were always so please, your final comments, and we can close the session. Thank you so much.
Good evening to all. Raghu, what a wonderful, I say, journey, the secret of spices and its flavors. I think so. As a Rajasthani, I can understand what flavor means. The last 1 month, I've been traveling right from Gujarat to Rajasthan and back to Hyderabad. The flavors vary from place to place. And I think so. It adds a lot of happiness when you get a good flavored meal wherever you travel or wherever you attend. I think so. You have shared your experience on how to make spices the most entertainment thing of our life, because these flavors, what we call as mother's recipe, most of them, as you said rightly, grinding the finest particle micron is just it's all wooden waste, dust. to understand what exactly needs to be the proportion to grind spices. That's the secret of mothers who have taught their children. You have well explained that today. But I think so. Modern technology is going to take a big leap on this, and you continue doing your good work. I think so. I wish you all the best for sharing your thoughts on spices. Definitely, there are so many players who are carried over with the spices. I think MDH took the lead in the beginning, and he continues still leading from the front. And I wish you all the best in your endeavor. And I'd love to talk to you again to expand your reach to different parts of India and world, where I think so modern food technology is taking, like, it's used everywhere today. Ready to cook food, as you said, is the biggest market for you. And every household has nuclear families who do not have time to even grind all these things. I think so it's available off the shelf. And you should be a great backbone to this subject. Look
Thank you.
forward
Thank you.
to
Thank you.
meeting you and make a visit to your unit also.
Thank you so much. And when we share in the group the recording, I will also share the link to the online shop, and also to request our SIT group members, whoever is interested in exploring the funding options, to really get in touch with Raghu.
I have one question, Dinakar sir, with Raghu sir. I have one question with you. If scaling is required, how do you guarantee the consistency? I have someone who is already looking forward for some kind of opening up in new avenues of food products. And I have myself traveled globally for more than 20 years.
Yeah. So
As a branding, as a good brand, they want to make it as a good brand, basically more of branding with a good stuff, quality stuff.
Yeah. So scaling comes with its own challenges. Once we are doing in a small quantity, the control is tighter because everything is at your place. But thanks to the advancement in the technology these days, where the output of the mill is guaranteed. Okay, it can do so many kgs per hour. So your feed rates can be fixed based on what is the input feed rate for the mill. At the same time, you can whatever we are doing, the pre-processing before grinding, the kind of washing, steam cleaning, or roasting, all these things can be sized appropriately so that you get desired this one. Or as of today, we are capable of doing something like 30 tons a month easily, and with a bit of stretch, we can go up to 45 to 50 tons. So this is a basic entry level, this one, because what we didn't look at the scaling as a first option. When we go to the future, this one, yes, of course, we have a expertise in our hand where we are not depending on outsiders to build a machine for us. So we will give the exact dimensions, we will give the size of the rotor, number of pins that it need to have, ratio of the pulley, and the capacity of the motor. So all these things we have done the research, and the expertise gained there, that comes in handy. With these things,
One more
yes,
thing
of
I
course.
want to ask. I have one question, sir. How do you match the flavors between the southern part of India and the northern part of India? Because their flavors vary.
Yes, sir. It's a very good question. See, when we are making garam masala, we make an authentic North Indian recipe itself. Okay, so what we have done is, when we were collecting these recipes, we used to go to those guys who are famous for doing catering, and especially there are people who are specific to Tamil style food catering. There are people who are specific to Gujarati or Rajasthani kind of food. So we used to go behind these people and then ask for recipes, and then after some pleading and other stuff, they used to share the recipe, but only by the hand measure. Okay, so much of dhania, so much of jeera. That's how they used to come there, and we used to take our SA scale, which is 0.5 grams accurate, 0.5 gram sensitivity, and then we ask them, okay, please put it on our scale. We'll measure it, how much it is. So that's how painstakingly we build these recipes. So whatever garam masala or kitchen king masala, what we use in our this one, it conforms with North Indian taste. Okay, that's the reason why which is one of the highest seller there. And of course, when it comes to biryani, we even visited people who make biryani. So they don't use any kind of external powders or anything, but they add the spices directly to the rice and then cook it with a closed cooking method. There also we had an opportunity, and we went at 3 a.m. in the morning to just to get those this one and couple of them. And finally, we arrived at this one recipe by normalizing some of them. Some people, yes, of course, they want to add more of cardamom and other stuff, and outcome may not be very pleasant when we do powder because it adds to the bitter taste. So these are the subtle changes what we did, and we had a lab running all the time. That is our own restaurant. So if we mess up something, immediately customer would call us and say, "Hey, this was bad." And if we are delivering something good, the customer would come back and say, this is good. And again, powders by themselves do not change the flavors and other stuff. But if you observe the cooking, take an example, a pulao, people add tej patta, then this ananas flower, and even cardamom, additionally to whatever the powder they mix. Okay, these things vary the taste drastically. So in south it is maybe different, in north it may be different. In south they use a lot of garlic and other stuff. It is not just for the this one. At the time of cooking itself, garlic is added. But in the north, garlic is only used for the seasoning or the tempering at that time. So those are the subtle changes, but powder doesn't make a big difference as such. These aspects of the cooking that makes the bigger difference when it comes to the final flavor.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you so
for
much.
sharing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. It was very exciting. Thank you very much. And then have a nice evening. So see you all next week.
It's a pleasure to talk to everyone.
Customary photo. Dinakar, our customary photo.
Oh, yeah, we can take the photo. Whoever wants to switch on the cameras, please do that. And then, yeah, there you go. Thank you so much. Oh, Namrata. Okay, yeah, just hold on, please, once more. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye. Good night.
Good night.